What's up, Skyrim fans? Peace and Grease here, and today we're going to be taking a look at player homes. Now, I'm not going to be looking at the vanilla game player homes or the DLC player homes, like in Hearthfire, for example. Instead, we're going to be checking out all of the player homes from Creation Club, more specifically the Anniversary Edition, in hopes to find you your perfect player home. Now, it's no secret that these modded player homes definitely are at a disadvantage compared to the Hearthfire player homes from the DLC, because those particular player homes you can actually build and add or remove anything you do and or do not want. Don't have that luxury with modded player homes. So what exactly are we looking for when we're talking about a modded player home? Well, it's really going to be kind of up to you. If you're doing some sort of a unique RP, then some of these homes may suit you better than others. But more than that, I can tell you what I look for. And most of it is the basics. For example, an enchanting table, an alchemy table, a full blacksmith shop, a cooking station, a baking station. And then on top of that, I want to see some specific displays or trophies, meaning Daedric Artifacts, armor, weapons, shields, as well as dragon claw keys and dragon priest masks and insect jars and things of that sort are really kind of what I want to see on these player homes. On top of all of that, I really want to see something unique about these player homes, something that really draws me in and encourages me to use this player home as my particular player home. So let's get started, and we'll start with the very first one, which is going to be Goldenhills Plantation. Now, there's no real quest or anything that you have to do to actually activate this. All you got to do is come to Rorikstead, and right a little ways from Rorikstead is Goldenhills Plantation, and automatically the quest will be added to your journal. So all you got to do is visit, and boom, the quest is in your inventory. Just that simple. But this is Rorikstead here as an example. Here's also Morthal. Hopefully that can kind of help you figure out exactly where this is. Alright, so Goldenhills Plantation, at first glance it doesn't look like much, and you'd be right, because starting out it's not much. In fact, there's really not a lot of frills or anything unique about this player home at first glance. However, on closer inspection you figure out that this is actually a plantation that you have to build. You have to complete various objectives in order to bring this plantation back to or up to a glory level. So starting out, you have a basic dining room table as well as a cooking pot. Off the main floor here you have the children's bedroom, and then in the upstairs you have the master bedroom. Again, no frills, nothing really special going on down here. You'll notice that there's not a blacksmith corner, nor is there an enchanting table. Now there is an alchemy table. If you figure out the mystery, you can find that as well. But other than that, it's pretty basic and sparse as far as player homes go. But if you're trying to RP as like a commoner who is trying to really bring their home up to a really good level, then maybe this will be the player home for you. Next up, let's take a look at Bloodchill Manor. Now, what's going to happen is a courier is going to actually bring you a invitation to dinner, and you read that and the quest starts. Just that simple. So when we're talking about Bloodchill Manor here, we're looking for the cave. There's Bloodchill Cavern right there. So here's Dawnstar, here's Winterhold, and right here on this peak, not far from the Frostflow Lighthouse, is Bloodshell Manor. Now this is a really cool player home, and I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. This is a player home that I personally would love to use. I have a couple of minor complaints, but other than that, there's a lot to love about this particular player home, particularly if you are kind of into vampire RP. So we're going to enter this cave, and as soon as we get into this cavern, you're going to be greeted by this beautiful stone bridge and waterfalls and water running underneath it. You've got a beautiful kind of a resting area where you can actually watch and look out over that water. I mean, it's almost like a castle in a cave would be the best way to describe it. You can see the lightning bugs buzzing around up there. Really wonderful sight, really is. May not be scenic as far as looking over Skyrim, but it's pretty damn scenic at a glance. You've got some plots here that you can plant various items, which is a very nice touch. Proceeding deeper into Bloodshell Manor here, if we go to the first door on the left, this is our full Blacksmith Station here, which is pretty doggone nice to have. There is a cage down here, a prison cell if you're going to hold somebody captive as vampire RP. But if we go into the next room over, we got this nice sitting area, and this is actually the children's room, which is actually a nice touch. Going back up to the second room on the left, and we have our dining room with our kitchen that has both a baking station and a cooking station, which is really nice. The well is a nice touch since you would need water, so that makes sense. And then going straight across from there, we have the master bedroom. Now, as I said already, this is going to be vampire RP, and so here are your coffins. But don't worry, if you're not doing vampire RP, you can still utilize this. You've got your enchanting table, your alchemy table, as well as a staff enchanter. You even have this really cool looking little treasure room, which is a really nice touch. If you go up these stairs, you're going to get into some more storage and display, as well as this nice sitting room with these amazing chairs. And finally, the master bed, just in case you're not a vamp. Then we're going to move into the main trophy room here, which this is an amazing trophy room. This is what I was talking about earlier in the video. You've got your basic mannequins and display racks for whatever you want to put in there. If you want to put fishing rods in there, I kind of wonder, can you put fishing rods in there? I bet you can. But you also have all of the cups for your paragons. You have all of the placards here for all of your bug jars, as well as your dragon claw keys and your dragon priest masks all go here. Continuing over further, we have some Daedric Artifacts we can display here, which is a really nice touch. This is a wonderful trophy room. My only complaint is, man, is it dark. It seems like Anniversary Edition has really kind of darkened things up. Compound that with the fact that the creator of this player home actually made it dark to begin with. Now it gets really dark. For example, if you put something on display on these mannequins or these racks, you couldn't see it or barely see it to really matter anyway. So, unfortunately, yeah, I really do wish it was kind of brightened up. My second, and this is a minor complaint, without giving away or spoiling too much, after dinner you're going to find that pretty much everything that's loose sitting around in these rooms is going to be thrown everywhere. Don't freak out. Leave, fast travel away, wait a couple hours, and then come back, and you'll find that most of the house has picked itself back up again. Not everything, though. Unfortunately, there's still going to be a few items you're going to have to deal with and pick up in these rooms, but that's just a little bit of a kind of a heads up. I love this player home. I really do wish that it was a little bit brighter in case you didn't want a vampire roleplay, but it is what it is. If you are looking for a vampire roleplay player home, this would suit you perfectly, particularly if the whole vampire lord type of idea for a roleplay. Next up, we're going to talk about Dead Man's Dread. Now, let me say this. If there's one player home on this list that I desperately wanted to love, this is absolutely it. But we'll get into it in a minute. So with this particular player home, you're going to read the book, The Restless, and this is going to be in the Winking Skeever, the little pub there in Solitude. Once that is done, you then start the quest. So right off the bat, we've got a problem. First of all, as you saw, I just had to go to a load screen to get to this island. That's one load screen. I have to go through the cave. That's the second load screen. Then I have to go through a door to get into my player home. That's the third load screen. 3 load screens just to get into my player home seems, well, really kind of excessive, to be honest with you. Compound that with the fact that if you don't use the map in the player home to fast travel away, you then have to leave the ship, which is a load screen, leave the cave, which is a second load screen, then you have to leave the island, which is a third load screen, because you have to use this boat. You can't fast travel away in this location. And then you have to fast travel away from that location, making it at least 3 to 4 different load screens you're going to have to go through just to get out again. Yeah, that's excessive. But without saying much more, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, my question to you, my dear viewers out there, have you ever seen the movie The Goonies? If you haven't watched the movie, pause the video and go and watch it. You can thank me later, trust me. I grew up watching that movie, and I couldn't tell you the number of times I've watched it, but this is giving me major, major Goonies vibes, and I flippin' love it. Now, before you ask, I'm sure somebody's going to say, well, can you actually, sail the ship? No, the ship will not leave this cave. Which I'm willing to make some pretty big allowances just so that I could use this as a player home. But unfortunately, we've got some issues here. As much as I love it, let's talk about the issues and what we are dealing with, and more importantly, what we're not dealing with here. Alright, so after I completed the quest, I was really hoping that there would be an option to clean up the ship, right? So it didn't look so dingy and dirty and dark and dank, but unfortunately, that you don't get that option. It always looks like that. And that's a real shame. Furthermore, I was really hoping for the option to change some of the rooms around, because there's like 4 different rooms that are filled with beds. I don't need that many beds. I have the captain's quarters, which is the master bedroom. You have 1 room that have a couple beds for the kids' room. You don't need the other 3 damn bunk rooms. Why were we not given the option to use those as something else? But sadly, no. So let's take a look inside this player home real quick. See what you get and what you don't get. Alright, so once you enter, you have what looks like a little chapel there, and you've got like a little bunkhouse here, got another bunkhouse here, there's another bunkhouse there. And this is basically going to be your blacksmith room there. There is your enchanting table and your alchemy table. And this is the map you're going to use to fast travel away from this particular player home. Trust me, you want to use that and not go the long way. Here's another bunkhouse, it looks like, but only 1 bed in there. What do we have 4 bunkhouses so far? This is the master bedroom here. Few bits of displays here and there. Nothing major, but enough. And then, where is the cooking station? Now, there's another bunkhouse. This is the prison, so that's what, 5 bunkhouses so far? See what I mean? It's really kind of excessive. They could have done something more with that, but... Okay, this is going to be your little bar as well as your cooking station in here. There is your cooking pot. Unfortunately, I do not see an oven. So as you can see, as much as I love this player home, unless you're going for like a straight up pirate RP, For me personally, I just, as much as I was willing to make exceptions for this player home just to be able to use it, there are so many that for me personally, I just can't bring myself to do it. But again, if you're trying to do some sort of pirate RP, this is the perfect situation for that. It's just a shame you couldn't have like a few crew members or something along those lines. But with that being said, let's move on to Gallows Hall. Now, this particular quest, you don't have to worry about, well, actually, let me show you here. As you can see, there are no markers because it won't let me fast travel away. So I have to use this slip to get back to the main continent of Skyrim and then fast travel away from there, from the coast. But I digress. Gallows Hall, basically there's a quest, but you don't have to go to a pub or any location like that. You basically just actually go to Gallows Hall in order to activate it. Alright. Now then, back to where I was. So you're looking for Marazai Pond here. And this is over here by Windhelm, as you can see here. A little bit further up, you have Winterhold. There's Dawnstar. But you're down here for Marazai Pond. There's Mixwater Mill. Now, once you fast travel, you're going to immediately turn right and go into the old abandoned fort. You'll see a door. That's where you go into. Once you're inside, you're simply going to read Nara's journal. In fact, she's going to have on her person several notes that you can read as well. But that's going to start a series of puzzles for you. As you can see here, we're going to the right. And that takes us into Gallows Hall. I'm not going to spoil anything about the puzzles here. I'm going to let you figure that out on your own. Now, this particular player home, in my mind, would be good for maybe a Necromancer RP, perhaps Dark Brotherhood RP. It's a very dingy, dirty, dilapidated-looking player home, but some RPs will actually work to that. So, what are the unique features about this player home? You can actually take your Grand Soul Gem and turn them into Dark Soul Gems, which is a really cool, nice touch. Overall, this player home has pretty much the basics. There's your alchemy table. You got coffins here. There's your enchanting table. You've got some displays here. You got a dining room table there. And then there's your cooking pot. No baking, as you can see. So then we'll drop to the next level down. And straight through here is going to be the master bedroom, and it does give you the well-rested bonus as well. You have some displays around here also. But we're going to drop yet another level down. And this is where we get to the Bone Forge. This is the other item, cool item that's a benefit of this home. You can actually create some of these kind of bone companions, or, you know, that you would actually conjure, but instead use them as actual companions, which is a really cool feature. So both of those are really nice features. The Black Soul Gems, making your own, as well as the Bone Forge. But with that being said, again, I don't think that this is the player home for everybody. It's definitely going to have to go into the realm of somebody role-playing something. And so I think, as I said, is applicable to several different types of RPs. But, yeah. Moving on, let's go talk about Hendraheim. Now, Hendraheim is very much like the Companion's Meat Hall. And that's pretty much all this is really just the Companion's Meat Hall. Now, Hendraheim is, as you can see, there's Markarth there. There's Rorikstead there. In fact, here is Goldenhills Plantation, which we talked about already. So let's go to Hendraheim. Now, once you reach level 10 in-game, a courier will bring you a Warrior's Challenge letter. And you read it, and you basically activate the quest and start that. And problem solved. Hendraheim is a very large player home, and it has probably one of the best scenic views in the game. It really is beautiful. Not only that, it has probably up there easily top 3 trophy rooms out of all of the modded player homes. You have a stable here on the outside, but you also have your forge out here. You do not have a forge inside. And you're going to notice a particular pattern with this player home, and that is the use of space isn't very good. And we'll see an example of that here in a minute. Now, I understand this is basically just an asset from the Companion's Meat Hall and just used here. But, again, you have stuff like this right here, which I have no clue what this is for. It seems to me that if everything on that wall there by that doorway was pulled forward, you could give the bedroom more room and have a dedicated kind of master bedroom, children's bedroom. But, moving on, we have your enchanting and your alchemy table here. You do have some display racks as well. You have your cooking station here, as well as your baking station there. And then in here, you have the kids' bedroom, and it's shared with the master bedroom, but of course, you can't even get in this side of the bed. Again, use of space is questionable. But it does really kind of give you everything that you really need, for the most part. Down here is this massive trophy room where you can arrange everything you want on these types of racks. But beyond that, you've got your Dragon Claw keys here. You've got some Daedric Artifacts here, as well as your Dragon Priest masks. More Daedric Artifacts. You have your insect bugs here, or insect jars, Paragon, cups, all the skull keys. Really nice touch there. There's more, just a lot of Daedric display racks, which is really nice. Again, it's very well lit. It's easy to see what you've done and what you haven't done. I tell you, just for this trophy room alone, I'm tempted to use this as my player home, because this is absolutely amazing. This is a perfect trophy room. I cannot think of a better trophy room. This is amazing. Bloodchill Manor comes in probably around second or third because it's so damn dark, but this is very good. So, what type of player home is this suited to? Who is it suited to, I should say? Well, I imagine if you're role-playing a sellsword, or a companion, or a warrior, or something along those lines, this player home would most certainly fit that bill to a T. Now, with that said, let's go check out Meyer Watch. Now, Meyer Watch is definitely top 3 player homes for me personally. I'm really a big fan of that particular player home. Now, Meyer Watch, again, this is a case of just going to the location and the quest starts. So we're looking for Meyer Watch here, which is just a short ways from Morthal. Here is Solitude, and here is Dawnstar for a few more points of reference. And let's jump straight to Meyer Watch. Now, Meyer Watch, in my mind, is going to be a player home for somebody that wants to RP as the Archmage, or a Wizard, or any type of battle mage, or even a Necromancer. Any type of magic dealing type of RP, this player home would be just about perfect. But before I forget, unfortunately, we've covered a lot of player homes that have really great scenic views. Meyer Watch, unfortunately, is not one of them. Sadly, it is just swamp and nothing but swamp, which is not pleasant to look at. But let's go into Meyer Watch and take a look. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything about it. You'll have to figure everything out about about how to get in here on your own. A very nice, tidy, clean player home. It has this really cool little portal here that takes you to the second level, which we'll talk about here in a minute. No, these insects are not a part of it. That's a different part of Creation Club. You've got plenty of storage here. You've got the master bed, I think, here, which is a nice touch. Again, more storage. You've got some display here as well. You've got a nice dining room here. Nice seating area. You also have a cooking pot here. I do not see a baking pot anywhere, a baking station anywhere in this player home, so to my knowledge, you probably aren't going to have a baking pot. A baking stove. So, going upstairs into the portal. Now this is where there's a lot of the basic kind of items that you need are here. That's one of the problems with this particular player home. Every time you come up here, stuff goes flying around. It's annoying to say the least. But here is your enchanting table there. And your alchemy table. Oh, there's your staff enchanter there, which is a nice touch. You've got your forge here. There's your alchemy table as well. Plenty of display up here, but more important than that, we have specific displays. So for example, here's all your Dragon Priest masks. Here's some Daedric Artifacts there. There's some more Daedric Artifacts. Plenty of Daedric Artifact storage. There's your Paragon Cups there. There's where your Initiate's Ewer and the Ariel Shield goes. Again, the problem I see with this is that there's no place for your Dragon Claw keys, which it's so disappointing because this player home is damn near perfect as far as I consider anyway. But unfortunately, with no Dragon Claw keys to really put, display to put anywhere, there's your insect jars there. Unfortunately, that means that you are really kind of left having them stored away in a display and hoping they don't go flying everywhere when the lid opens up, or you don't lose any. So yeah, but again, it's a very, very nice player home. In fact, like I said, it's probably in my top 3 of my favorite player homes that I would be tempted to use. So with that said, let's move on to, and I'm going to mess this name up really badly, and that is Nchaumthunz. So basically how you acquire this, or at least start this quest, is you're going to look for a journal called Seek's Ancient Artifacts. And that's going to be in the Frozen Hearth pub there in Winterhold. And that's what's really going to kind of kick off this whole quest for you. Once you do, though, you're going to go to, here's Riften right here, and here's Shorestone there. What other? Here's Winterhelm, and we're going up here by Kergrinzel, and you're looking for Frostroot Cave. I don't want to fight a dragon right now. Now then, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? Alright, so here's Riften. Up here is Frostroot Cave. And that's where we want to go. Now the idea of having a functional Dwemer building or tunnel system that still works sounds absolutely amazing. And in theory it is. But as much as I love the idea, and I do love a lot about this particular player home, again, we got a couple issues. first of which is there should be some type of Dwemer automaton patrolling outside the door here. And I suggest that because 3 out of 4 times I've come to this location, I've had 3 bandits in here. So having some sort of security system like that would have been amazing. Unfortunately, that just means you're going to have to fight bandits. You just look forward to 3 out of 4 times you're going to have to take out some bandits so you can just get to your house. Also, you've got 2 load screens. You've got to get to the cave, you know, obviously go in the cave, that's your first, and then actually go into the building, that's your second. So you've got 2 load screens to get into your player home. Now, it is what you would expect for a player home, and it has pretty much all of the items that you would expect as well. The Nchaumthunz does not come with it. That's a different part of Creation Club. In here we have your own personal throne room, and you can actually even put a nice little fog of power over your throne, which is an excellent touch, if I may say so myself. The problem is you don't really have any subjects, so it's sadly kind of pointless. Cool, but still kind of pointless. You also have trophy placards here, trophy bases that you can put all kinds of items in here like you would expect from the Hearthfire DLCs, which is a really nice touch. Now, the idea of having to clear the rubble away to create your player home, the idea is cool, okay? The problem is, this is how it's always going to look. You don't get any choices in the matter. And so this idea that, oh, well, you have to wait 24 hours or a day before you can come back is, well, kind of senseless, because no matter what you do, it's always going to look the same. You don't have any choices. And as a result, it just becomes a time gate. And that's pretty much all there is to it. But another cool factor is this bath here with this fountain. Really cool touch. But on top of that, you also have a steam room. You have a sauna, so you can actually have a steam. That's a pretty cool feature. I haven't seen that one before as well. You have the typical enchanting table. You have the typical alchemy table. You have a blacksmith station as well. You have a cooking station. Yeah, this is the master bedroom here. You have this nice seating area there. There's your cooking pot. Although I do not see an oven. You have some various displays here as well. So all of this, it's really cool. There's your enchanting and table there. All of this is really cool. It's just, well, it's a really big Dwemer structure, as you would expect. It's got some nice features. But having to fight bandits because there's no security, like for example, where the heck are the Dwemer automatons roaming around, you know? Like the only way that you're going to see one is if you go to various functioning locations. This is the trophy room here. Again, you've got some racks, some mannequins, some display cases, but unfortunately no dedicated trophy or displays anywhere for like Daedric Artifacts, Dragon Priest masks, or anything like that. So unfortunately, you don't have any of that. There is your blacksmith area right here. So yeah, suffice it to say, I do love it, or I should say I do like it, but it at times I kind of feel like it's a lot to have to go through just to use it as a player home, because I have to go through 2 different cells just to get to my player home, and then I have to trek through this cave every time, And then I may end up on top of that having to deal with bandits, and while they may be easy to take out, it becomes frustrating just to be able to utilize this as a player home as a result. Not having any kind of dedicated trophy room or dedicated display slots is also kind of disappointing. But with that being said, if you're doing some type of a Dwemer role play, it fits perfect in that scenario. So, I mean, name one that's going to be better. You probably can't, besides something like Markarth. So next up, let's talk about Tundra Homestead. Tundra Homestead is a very nice little player home, and you can find it by Whiterun here. Here's Dragon's Reach, and basically all you have to do is just talk to the Jarl Stewart at Dragon's Reach and just buy it outright, and that's all there is to it. You just bought Tundra Homestead. And I want to say it was 7,500 gold, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can correct me down in the comment section if I get the amount wrong. But I want to say it was like 7,500 gold. Now, even though it's a very kind of small, basic type of player home, it kind of makes me wonder whether or not... I'm not gonna lie, that just scared the heck out of me. But anyway, moving on. So you have some kind of a stable there. Your blacksmith setup is back here. I will say that this is another player home that has an absolutely beautiful scenic backdrop, which is a really nice feature as well. You do have an apiary in the back if you want to collect bees or honeycomb, so that's a nice touch as well. But there's a reason why so much of this stuff is sitting outside, and it's because there's just no room inside to put it. The house is that small. In fact, it's so small, some of the basic amenities that you would expect are absent. No, the spider is not included. I do love these chairs, though. We saw them in, I believe, Bloodchill Manor. I do dig them. But anyway, moving on. So you have your cooking station and your baking station. I like this baking station here. I like how small and condensed it is. Very nice touch. But unfortunately, one thing you'll notice about this player home is the forge is outside, if that's a big deal to you. Something to be aware of. But there's your enchanting table, and here is your alchemy lab. We'll go downstairs in a minute to your trophy room. But unfortunately, you do have to share a room with the kid, or kids, plural, whichever you may have in this game, or your particular playthrough. It's a nice, quaint little home, but let's drop down and check out the cellar. Now, I personally think there's something to be said for like small, quaint homes like this. I personally do not have a problem with them. I don't need some gigantic, spacious mansion as a player home. I find that it just takes me more time to navigate or get around the player home. So here we have, of course, for the trophy room, you have your Dragonclaw keys, a must. Then you have your bug jars here, as well as your skull keys, your Dragon Priest masks here, your Paragon cups there, as well as Aerial Shield, Initiate's Ewer. And let's see, unfortunately, there's not a lot of specific Daedric artifact storage, so you're going to have to kind of take it upon yourself to store your Daedric artifacts. That being said, it's a well-lit, well-laid out trophy room, and though it may lack specific Daedric items for display purposes, it's still probably up there as my top 3 favorite trophy rooms. Very much so. It's a very nice, very well laid out trophy room. Very well lit. So, yeah, don't think just because it's a very small, quaint home that it's going to lack in that department, because it doesn't. With that being said, this would be good RP for somebody that is like a minor, like lord or minor royalty, for example. It's very centrally located on the Skyrim map to Whiterun and everything else you may have to do, which is a really nice touch. And if you don't plan to have any kind of children, then this shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I like this player home. I do. I think it's really nicely done. So let's move on to the 9th and final player home, and that is going to be Shadowfoot Sanctum. Now, in order to access this, you're going to have to go to Ripton. Now, you're going to have to, there's no real quest involved with this. You're just going to have to go to Veckel. He's the little bartender there in the Ragged Flagon in the Ratways of Ripton. And you just buy it from him, and you now have a player home in the Ratways. Again, I want to say it's probably in that 4,000 to 7,500 gold price range. I don't remember exactly, but again, I'm sure somebody can correct me down in the comment section below.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Now, I will say that if Tundra Homestead is still too big of a player home for you personally, we've got one that's even smaller in Shadowfoot Sanctum. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just very light on features, just to be clear. And you'll see here in a moment. But I personally think that this player home would be excellent for somebody that was trying to RP, maybe a werewolf, somebody trying to keep away from the public, maybe even vampire, or maybe a Dark Brotherhood member. Obviously, Thieves Guild definitely works in that situation. So what you're looking for is a gate, and here is Shadowfoot Sanctum. Now, I will say there is one cool part of this player home, and that is it has like its own like little dock and body of water here, which you'll see in a minute. It's just a shame that there aren't like fishing supplies so that you can fish in this body of water. But you got plenty of storage. You have your full forge here, which is a nice touch and makes sense for somebody that is not magically gifted specifically. Then you have some basic storage here. You have this nice sitting area, dining table. In here you have the kids' room, and in here you have the master bedroom. Very nicely furnished, looks very good. In here you have your cooking station, as well as your baking station, a little bar and seating area here. Very nicely laid out. But you'll notice that there is no enchanting table nor alchemy table. That's right, that means that you now, if you use this as a player home, are going to have to go to a different location to mix your potions and enchant your gear. It is definitely something to be aware of, because while this is a very small, very basic player home, I definitely see this as being an RP for like a thief or nightingale, something along those lines. But that wraps up all 9 of the Creation Club Anniversary Edition player homes. Let me know which one is your favorite down in the comment section below. And until next time,